let's dive into credit, right? Because like for me, you know, I wrote a book about about a decade ago now, right? Yeah, 2013, decade ago.
Wow.
Man, time is flying.
Wow.
I wrote a book a decade ago called What the FICO, 12 Steps to Repairing Your Credit. And I can imagine that things have changed since 10 years ago, but still it's a good book, so y'all should check it out. But you talk about FICO in a way that I'd never heard of it before. Can you discuss like FICO and a role that it plays in your consumer report?
All right, so that's a very good question. Before we get to there, your book, the reason why I want you to bring this up a little bit more, for the simple fact that most of the stuff that you wrote, 9 times out of 10 is what most people knew about credit.
Yeah.
So if you can just touch on some of the things that you wrote in that book, and then now I'm going to follow up now with the consumer, with the consumer law portion of it, and show now how there's this big separation between a FICO score or a Vantage score versus what's really on the consumer report.
Yeah, so you know, what the FICO 12 Steps to Repair Your Credit, you know, really talked about the different parts of your credit, right? And so I call it the 35, 30, 15, 10, 10, 35, 30, 15, 10, 10, 35, 30, 15, 10, 10. You know, that breaks down to 100% of your score. 35% of your score is your payment history, which means, you know, are you paying your bills on time? 30% of your score is your usage ratio, so your utilization ratio. And so if you have any revolving credit, you know, are you keeping those balances 30% or lower? Then you got 15% of your score, which is the length of credit history, which is how long have you had credit. Then you have the 10%, which is any new credit that you have, and in order to, you know, keep that on par, you just don't unnecessarily apply for loans and things of that nature. And then lastly, you have your credit mix, which is the different types of credit that you have. I am
utterly impressed. Like, you see me over here smiling, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you're not really in the credit, even people in the credit game, when I say 35, 30.
We're about to trip up, though.
I got you. That's why I'm here.
I'm going to trip up on my own show, fam.
No. I got you. But the fact that you're able to say it like that, it means that you literally, you're from a place of authenticity.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So, it like, there's people right now that's in the credit game where if I say 35, 30, 15, 10, 10, they have no idea what it means.
Yeah.
And they're like, bro, what are you talking about? I'm like, okay. 35, 30, 15, 10, 10. And it takes a while for it to click. So for you just to give that off the top of the dome on a book you wrote over a decade ago, bro, you are the real deal. So that's my point. Like, you are the real deal.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
So it goes even further. It goes one step further, right? So when we look at 35, 30, 15, 10, 10, well, it translates to points as well. So FICO, right, ranges from 300 to 850. That gives us 550 points to play with, right? So for the 35%, which is the payment history, that equates to 192.5 points. When we go to the 30%, that's 165 points. When we go to the 15, it is 82.5. And then when you go to the 10 and the 10, those are now 55 points each, which total 550 points, right? So when you know now how the system itself works and what categories gives you points, it's easy to manipulate how you want those numbers to go. This is how, when I learned this is how I built the 800 credit score 3 times in 1 year. And you're going to hear a lot of people say, oh, that's not possible. You need mortgages. I got the receipts. Go to my Instagram, The Credit Hero. Look in there. You'll see the testimonials and you'll see mine. Right? But what a lot of people fail now to comprehend is that FICO and Vantage, they're only algorithms. They have nothing to do with your credit. They are a risk model that takes the information from your consumer report. That information from your consumer report put into that algorithm spits out data. That data now becomes a risk score. So a lot of people might be saying right now, Doreen, what do you mean Vantage? What is a Vantage? What is a FICO? I've never heard of those before. Well, you know, a lot of people... a lot of people go to Credit Karma, right? and they see a score on Credit Karma, and they're like, yo, that is my score, that is my score. Well, not really. It is a risk score, but it's not what 90% of banks use.
Right.
90% of banks use your FICO, your FICO 2, FICO 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 10T, based on the different model that that institution has. That models now for different things, right? So I'm not going to go too deep into like the score buckets and all these crazy stuff. What people really need to know is that the information is what generates the score, right? So when we go to the definition of what a consumer report is, which we will in a second, we're going to see that I'm going to prove to you around 4 things, right? And if I can't prove 4 things to you by the end of the episode, I will Zelle you $1,000, and I'll make sure everybody see me Zelle you $1,000.
And so I'm going to challenge you on those 4 things.
Absolutely,
too. Okay.
and I'll prove all of them.
Gotcha.
So the first thing I'm going to prove to you is that a FICO score or a Vantage score does not exist on your consumer report.
Okay.
They're independent, right? The next thing I'm gonna prove is that late payments are illegal, and utilizations are illegal, and then that's.
And when you say illegal, you mean like
it's not supposed to be.
They're not supposed to be on your report.
No.
Do tell. Okay.
All right, and then let me see if there's a bonus thing I want to give to y'all. I'll think of the bonus on reachable.
Okay.
But those are the 4 main points that I'm going to prove.
Okay.
So the first thing, and I don't want people to say, Darain, you memorize the stuff. So if you don't mind, would you pull something up for me?
Yep.
15 USC.
All right, so we're going to go 15 USC.
Correct. 1681A. So we're going to the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And this is the law. For those of you who don't know what the FCRA is, the FCRA is the law that governs everything that gets reported to your credit.
So 15 USC 1681A.
It should bring you to definition rules of construct.
Yes, sir.
All right, scroll down to number 2 to the exclusion.
All right, so number 2.
It should say exclusions.
Just not. Wait, hold on for a second. So we got. It's like ABC, Consumer Report. So in general.
1681.
Oh, exclusion. I got you right here. All right, so exclusions. Except as provided in paragraph 3, the term consumer report does not include.
Does not include. So if Congress says, Ash, what you're about to read, this report that I'm talking about, this is not included. What does that simply mean?
It shouldn't be on there.
It shouldn't be on there, right? Like, can we all agree that it's not supposed to be there?
Yeah.
All right, please continue.
All right, so it says A, subject to section 1681 S3 of title, any report containing information solely as to transactions or experiences between the consumer and the person making the report.
All right, good. So now there's 3 definitions we're going to look at, right?
Yeah.
The first one is the consumer report.
Yeah.
What is the correct definition of a consumer report? So if you click on the word consumer report, Congress is going to give you the definition. It's a hyperlink.